Lastly, we're going to talk about Bird Box. Bird Box is a movie that came out on Netflix, and a lot of people have been posting stuff online about it, which it's pretty cool that a lot of people are seeing one movie, which is great. Ultimately, everybody has that thing in common where everybody can relate to a film for somehow. Real quick, Bird Box is it's a film directed by Suzanne Bier. It starred Sandra Bullock, Trevante Rhodes, and John Malkovich, which John Malkovich
is the bomb.
Yeah. So it's based on a book. I didn't know that.
I did see that. I saw it was based on a book at the end. And I'm actually kind of interested how that works out though, because I have thoughts on the movie itself.
Yeah. So ultimately, Bird Box is the premise is 5 years after an ominous unseen presence drives most of society to suicide. A survivor and her two children make a desperate bid to reach safety. So there's been numerous stuff about Bird Box that people have been saying that it's about this, that it's about suicide, that it's about mental health. And you know what? Everybody gets their own interpretation. But in my eyes, there's some interpretations that are really stupid.
Mario's like, you're all wrong.
You're all wrong. This is exactly. I'm gonna break down exactly what this film's about. Ultimately, everybody has their own interpretation of the film, and if you guys could argue about it, then more power to you.
That's
but
true.
I definitely want to break down a couple stuff. I know it was. First of all, I thought it was good. I didn't think it was great. I thought it was good. I know the film was very great in terms of how it came to life. There's a couple stuff in there that I thought was brilliant on how they did it and what they did. Ultimately, first impression though, what did you think about it?
I thought it was a good movie, but I think, and I mean, it's just funny because I saw it the second time, and because the first time it was during the holidays and people screaming, people walking by like 100 times. You're just like, bro, like sit down. I'm trying to watch this.
Yeah.
But it was cool though. It was cool, but again, I feel like it's just one of those where like when you consider yourself like a movie connoisseur, you're like, oh, okay, that was cool. I feel like you start to look at like little things inside of it that you're just like, yeah, it was all right. Like it was, and I think we mentioned this, and we're probably gonna bring this up though, but it was essentially like the premise of The Happening though.
It was like The Happening. It was the same thing. It was literally the exact same thing.
I remember I told my brother, I'm like, isn't this already a movie though? Like, I'm like, M. Night Shyamalan did the Happening, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, the leaves blow and then the thing comes out and you're just like, oh,
you basically end up killing yourself. Yeah.
I want to know. Well, it was already a book, but I swear though, they like saw The Quiet Place and then they were like, oh man, what if you couldn't look though? You're just like, wow.
You can hear, but you can't look.
You can't see. You're just like, oh damn.
Well, I mean, I don't think that's the case, given that it takes a couple years for the movie to be made. So, so I'm gonna break it down for you guys if you want to chime in. So check this out. So ultimately, Bird Box to me was a story of a woman overcoming her inability to connect with people. And I think that's a major deal because you have to be able to connect to thrive in society. You have to interact with people. You have to go outside. You have to do all this stuff. And the whole movie was based on that. Mm-hmm. I didn't think it was based off of, well, I guess in that sense is that mental health where you're unable to connect. But it has nothing to do with, in my eyes, it has nothing to do with suicide.
I don't think I saw it and I was like, oh my God, like mental health, like, no offense, but I wasn't like, oh my God, this is what it's about. It's so, I was like, no. Yeah,
it's she's trying to overcome her inability to love and connect. That's the main issue.
Yeah.
And I thought that was a great way on how they started the movie, because you get it right off the bat.
Yeah.
The first scene you see is a brush, black paint being painted on a black canvas.
Yeah. I mean, even that initial conversation with the sister where she
so in the beginning, Jessica, which is her sister, she visits her and it's like she's ultimately alone, but she has no food, or like she doesn't talk to her mom and all that stuff. And like even when she's talking to her, she doesn't look at her directly because she keeps on painting. Yeah. So it's like she like. What was her name? Mallory. Mm-hmm. Mallory was Sandra Bullock's character. It's like she just withdrew herself from like the world, and I think it's based off of like a thing they had said about her husband or her boyfriend leaving her or something like that. But amongst other things, I'm assuming. But she basically just withdrew everything, and it's like right off the bat, there's like good examples of mise en scène, which a lot of people who don't know what mise en scène is everything that's in the frame of a film has to be there for a reason. So ultimately, there's a reason why it's there. So as a good example of mise en scène, Mallory's paintings. I don't know if you could look into the shot. Everything is dark.
Yeah.
You know, all the paintings are dark. They have like a secluded feel to them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's almost like a coping mechanism where it's like, that's how I'm feeling. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Ultimately, you're not going to go out and saying like, hey, I don't feel well right now, but it's ultimately, it's a coping mechanism. It's how you're expressing yourself through the painting. So I thought that was the good opening scene, because ultimately she surrounded herself with how she's feeling. So you can
tell even like by the set decoration, it's just all like painting stuff, and it's like, you know what I mean? It almost looks like a studio. It doesn't look like anybody like is actually living there. Yeah. So
yeah, and ultimately the film, progresses. Like it's all ultimately on how Mallory gets confronted with more and more scenarios that are gonna challenge her that she has to connect with people, and I think that's what the movie's about. It's about somebody's will or somebody's need to overcome to survive, and I
guess you can say that because it's almost like the three. Or maybe not the three crucial points, but the first one is when the lady helps her into the house. Though. You know what I mean?
Well, hold on. Before we go there, let me give you one, because I'm gonna do these in order. So you saw that scene when they're walking towards the
hospital?
Yeah. So and then she's gonna get the ultrasound or whatever.
Yeah. The lady who's on the phone.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I like how we're thinking about the same.
Frankie, can you pull up the image right here? Okay, just so people can see the audience. So there's a scene right where they're walking towards the hospital,
and she's on the phone, right?
Yeah, and there's a time in the frame where they perfectly align all together, right? So in that scene, they have they're going down to the hallway, whatever. There's two, and if you look at it directly, the two women on the left, which is Mallory, Jessica, and then the random woman, they're both on their phone. And I think that was a great thing, because not only are they in different color wearing, FYI for any people that aren't gonna be able to notice this, from here onto the end of the movie, there's always something blue in Mallory. Right now I think she was wearing
like the blindfold too. No, at some
point, it's blue.
Yeah,
it's all blue. But then her she has like a weird like furry thing on her, and it's all blue. So blue is associated with Mallory at this point, right? So everything else. The girls are on their phones. They're able to connect with people. It's separating Mallory. That her tone is, not only is she not talking to anybody, she's not on the phone, but her tone of blue it's like a sad blue. It's not. It's not a royal blue. It's not like a bright blue, sky blue. It's a sad blue. It's kind of like a untone. And I think the color blue is my favorite thing here, because it's a recurring motif for Mallory. So you see it constantly. For the majority of the film, Mallory wears like the blue blindfold, and you could even see it in the cover. That's the other thing. And then also when she talks to Olympia, I think that was her name.
I hate that lady. I saw that movie.
I think everybody hates that movie.
I was just lady. Like, bro.
I think everybody hates her. I saw a meme saying who caused you most pain in 2018, and it was a picture of her. It was a picture of Star-Lord, because he messed up the thing, so they could've taken and then it was like two other ones, but it was hilarious. But anyway, that's funny. When they're talking, and Olympia's basically asking her if she could take care of the child when she's gone and all that stuff, and then Mallory hands her like that bag with the stuff in it. It was blue. So she's metaphorically like handing over like a piece of her sadness type thing. But ultimately the main thing about the blue thing is that first of all, the birds are the key here, right? Obviously the movie's called Bird Box, and it's referring to the birds, the birds in the box that they had. But it goes much deeper than that, man.
Well, the birds are blue too, though, right?
The birds are blue too. Yeah. So then that means the birds are the thing that are representing the freedom that's being caged. So you have all of these people.
That's true, because all the birds they have the white cage.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So the birds represent its freedom. A bird can go whatever they want, but it's caged in. They're in the box, and in the movie, the characters are the birds, because ultimately they can't go outside because they're gonna die. they can't see outside because they're gonna die. So in the bird box, you have like the holes, the breathing holes, and inside, you know how they had to tape up the car, or they had to paint it so you can't, but you could only see like the smallest like things. It's the same thing. Yeah. So the characters are the birds. To like what they're so it's a metaphorical thing where ultimately the human race right now they're boxed in, they're caged in and stuff like that. So it has to deal a lot with the birds. So ultimately the whole birds is the key of how I was saying. Towards the ending, spoiler alert, if you're not gonna watch it, well, it doesn't matter.
They let him go.
So you know how they let him go.
Yeah.
But she's finally outside without her blindfold. And I think.
And it was 3 birds too, no?
It was 3 birds.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was 3.
Like the 2
but ultimately,
and,
she's free. She's able to get in. She's in a safe environment. She's free. She could do whatever she wants and stuff like that.
And not only that though, but did they name the birds?
No.
No, but she named the kids at the end though. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, you're Tom and you're Olympia.
Olivia.
No, she said Olympia.
She said Olivia.
Bro, she said Olympia.
Okay, well, whatever. Point is,
she named her because I was just like, oh, how dare her, bro? Like that's the reason that.
But point is, the birds play a big role in this and stuff like that. So, but the other thing, going back to how Mallory was on, based off of, how she was overcoming, she had to do a lot of stuff to do all this. And I think my favorite scene is like where the turning point is when they're in the forest. Okay. So when you have Mallory and then boy and girl, which those are their actual name. They're in the forest and they all get scattered.
Yeah.
And then she's going crazy. She's psyching herself out. She's screaming for these things and stuff like that. And
she lifts her blinds off though, no?
Almost. Like find them, yeah, kind of. And then I think that was the best thing because it's throughout the whole thing. That's the moment where she actually felt alone. Yeah. Like that was the one true moment where she was actually alone. You have other ones where, Jessica's there. You have that one gentleman, Tom? There with him and stuff like that. But she was never actually alone until that very moment. And I think when she hit that moment, she realized that she needed
the kids.
She needed the kids. She needed somebody.
She was like trying never to connect with them though. Yeah,
exactly.
Like, you will die. If you look, you will die.
Exactly. And we know that because the scene that follows is when they're banging on the door. Oh yeah. She's sacrificing herself. She's like, true. You could just take the kids. Just take the kids. So she's sacrificing herself.
That's funny.
And it goes back to the beginning where she was like, oh, somebody's gonna have to look. And then it's basically like referring to the kid, little to the girl. It's like you're gonna have to look, not me.
She's like, we're not gonna survive if I look. She's like, you guys have to look. And I was just like, dude. That's actually that was crazy though.
Yeah, so ultimately she's come full circle.
You know what I like about
the whole thing,
like a movie like this though, is that I feel like it always like puts you in those positions where you're like, damn, you're like, I would have locked that door. I would have not let anybody in, or I don't know. You try to like, I don't know. You question your humanity, You're just like, damn.
And at that point, she came full circle. And I don't know if you noticed, it juxtaposed the first and the last shot. The first shot, she's looking down because she's painting. And then if you see the last one, she's looking up at the sky. Yeah. So it's definitely all the birds. Yeah, it's a juxtaposition of she's facing down, but at the end she faces up. So everything we saw in between is the movie unraveling. It's giving us her journey from point A to point B. Yeah. It's her overcoming herself. That's what the movie's about. It's not about these other random stuff. That's what the movie's about. So it's stuff like that.
Drop the tablet.
Yeah.
Tablet drop.
Learn something, guys. Learn something. That's what the movie's about. And I think this movie was great because it had so many small points to prove and to make the journey go through. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think the only reason why it's not an amazing movie is because it was already done before. Yeah. But then again, every other movie was done before, but this one was already done before.
Well, what happens in The Happening though?
And The Happening was basically
like, I know the wind blows, but what happens? They go crazy, no?
No, they just kill themselves. It's the exact same thing. The only difference is that,
but nothing. Like there's just like a switch and they kill themselves.
They literally just kill themselves however they can. Like the thing of the movie is basically that the world is correcting itself because there's too much stuff going on. Yeah. It's just correcting itself. It's literally the exact same thing. We just don't have a reasoning for this one. Yeah. It's what this could be. It could be a section in The Happening.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? It could be in The Happening world.
This is phase 2. Yeah,
exactly.
But you know what though, and I hate to be that person though, but like even The Happening, like when I saw that, I was like, damn, that's actually kind of interesting. I was like, that's kind of cool, because it's just like that could actually, you know, like there's this whole talk about the, what is it, just like nature, you know, kind of like reacting to its environment. And even with this whole thing about like bees like going extinct, or you know, like there's not gonna be like anything to pollinate them and all that. Yeah. So I thought that was actually kind of interesting, and I was just like, oh shit, I'm like, dude, we're gonna die in the most creative ways.
Honestly, like, I like those. I like M. Night Shyamalan when he does those type of things. I know he definitely has he had some horrible film back in, but he's had some pretty.
Did you like
ones.
The Village?
I didn't like The Village.
Oh damn! See, like The Village.
It was a good twist, but I didn't like The Village. I thought it was kind of whack.
I thought it was cool. Like The Village was one. Again, I don't know. I do hate though that like throughout the whole movie you're just like, oh, what the hell? What is the monster? You know, it's just like going in. But you know, if you think about it, they were actually just killing people though.
Yeah.
But to keep up like the fear and stuff, but no, at the end that was good though.
Yeah. All right, sounds good. Well, that was Bird Box. Hope you guys learned something on how to interpret movies.
Make sure you subscribe to Mario Quintana University. After watching that, you're like, okay.
Juan is a student of
I am. I'm learning every day. Juan. I'm just like, okay, all right.
But I learned from Juan too, also. So it's a good thing about the show. Anyway, that's all we have time for today. Again, you were just on set with Juan Rangel and Mario Quintana. Join us next time as we discuss some other stuff that we plan. So shout out to Francisco Soriano, who's over there doing all this cool stuff.
Technological stuff.
Yeah, he just watches us talk a bunch of random stuff. So all right, till next time.
Peace.